I'm a Millbilly. I'm working on Chuck Monkey status. I know the Millbillies and Chuck Monkeys are gonna go at it on this one. You guys fight over there. My opinion, lathes are harder to set up. Hey folks, Justin Webb here from Zealous Manufacturing. Today's episode of American Made by Practical Machinist. We're gonna get this Tormach 15LX making some chips. Small, simple part, aluminum. We might offer this in other materials down the road. This is a part that used to be outsourced by some good friends of mine, and now they've asked me to do the production for it. So we're gonna go over some basics of it, and then we will kind of go over lessons learned, and we'll go from there.
So here's the item we're working on. Just a simple lathe item, OD ID thickness. So the way I approach these items, I think of it kind of like a mill item. So I'm gonna rough the OD, rough ID, and cut to length essentially in this case. So we're gonna face, then we do the rough of the OD. We're gonna drill through, no spot on this, just running a carbide drill, just a clearance hole. Here we're gonna finish the OD, and then we rough ID, finish ID, and then we do a part off. So I'll do an edge break, and then I'll go ahead and part off that part. So let's jump over to the machine side and actually see it cutting chips. So here's 50% rapids. I do this just as a safety measure to obviously make sure we have no collisions, no crashes. Crashes on a lathe for some reason are more intimidating to me than anything else. You can see some stringiness in the chips, 50% rapids. I can probably push this harder. Obviously, once we turn it to 100% rapids, that should get better. You'll also see it here on the drill action. So long stringy chips should probably feed it harder, being soft material. But let's get comfortable with the program, and then we can work on optimizing it. So here we're going to run the part off tool. Some reason part off tools are always nerve-wracking to me, but this actually worked pretty well. Edge break, and then we go in plunge to get that. And this part actually pops off pretty easily by hand afterward. I could probably change that so I go a little bit deeper just so the part falls off, but we have to make a parts catcher for this machine yet. So here's 100% rapids. You'll notice I have my G30 set pretty far back. This was just so I could ensure that there was no tool change collisions. I can adjust that now that we know that the program is good. And we'll actually adjust our stick out on the tool as well. So you'll see chips are breaking a little bit better here, feeding it faster. So I think I can probably increase my speeds and feeds here to get these chips to break a little bit better. But we've got a little bit of coolant flow we have to adjust here as well, block some of the extra ports just to get that better coolant flow. But overall, even at 100% rapids, we still have some room for improvement and a little bit further to push this 15LX. So exciting that we can push it harder than we thought, just to see what we can do to optimize this part. And now we will show the part.
Let's go into some things. Millbilly is going to dive into lathes. You saw it making chips. It was great. It's a good learning experience. One thing I want to hint on is, again, we brought the lathe in to become more efficient, increase some margins so we can upgrade some other things here in the shop, potentially move the shop. Remember, I said it's going to come. Don't know when, but it's going to come. So those are things we're working on. So I wanted to give you an example. The product that we just ran, we used to outsource for this customer, very good friends of mine. And we used to have to run like 2,000 pieces to get to a good price point that there's still margin left to sell. We can run about 500 pieces for that same price point now that it's in-house. So that's cool. That's really great for us. Get to help out some friends and some customers. One thing I want to recap and reel back here. Mill work versus lathe work. I get why there's the clash. Mills, to me, easy to set up. So lathes, primarily round parts, etc. Let me give you my 2 cents, right? This is just my 2 cents as a Millbilly, learning lathes, running a shop. starting from scratch, my opinion, lathes are harder to set up. So while the workpiece isn't right, you generally have a round item, or another round item. Yes, you can have square stock, you can have hex stock, etc. It's all going into a 3-jaw, 4-jaw, 6-jaw, 8-jaw, or collet to hold that. Mills, you can have 1 vise, 2 vices, modular vices, etc. Workpiece holding on a lathe, simple, easy to understand. Mill setup, a little more complicated on the upfront, right? You might have to shift some vices around. You might have to figure out how can I fit 2 vices on this table. Don't really have that with the lathe. Tool setup, mills, way easier. Let's think about it, right? You have a round tool that's programmed in your machine, and you have a length. Pretty simple. Just make sure that length is long enough so you don't crash. Because none of us have done that before. I'm staring at you. But back to the point. Typically, you have a diameter. Whether that diameter is true or not, you can comp all that in your program or at your machine if you have that capabilities. It's simple, right? If you said I need a 1-inch square, it's cut in 1 1/10 thou, you can offset 5/10 in your machine or in your program, and you can compensate for that diameter. Easy peasy, done. You're not really having to reference anything else, just tool already knows what it is, length, and work from there. Lathes a little more in depth. So I chose to go with like a master tool setup style where I use one tool, everything's based off that because the machine knows where center line is, your spindle center line is 0, and go from there. So take a cut with your OD, set that diameter so it knows where that tool is, and then everything's kind of in reference to that. One thing I want to note for anybody who's thinking about getting a lathe is tool configuration, especially on a turret. So I want to jump over to the lathe quick so you guys can understand that. So here's our turret. In the orientation video or the introduction video, I talked 8-position turret. We can run tools in the gang plate as well. I'm probably going to put a parts catcher there. Nothing worth mentioning any further. So 8-position tools, you've got 2 styles. You have a square or stick style, and you've got a boring bar. So each tool position on this turret can accept both. So as you can see, there's 4 mounting holes here. I can take my boring bar holder, put it here, etc. If you're doing a lot of job shop work, I highly recommend trying to figure out what is the configuration that will make the most sense for your standard work and going with that. And here's why I say that. So if you take a drill or a boring bar and you say tool position 5 here, that's going to be tool 5. And I'm going to indicate in to set 0 on my X direction. Z you would set as like every other tool off the tip of your tool, drill, boring bar, whatever it might be. But once you indicate in off that bore, that is set. So one thing to note now is if you have to change your configuration, say I need to take that, unbolt it, move it to tool 6, I have to re-indicate 6. I have now altered my location for what was a stick tool or a square tool, and now it gets a little tricky. And then, say the next job is I take this and I move it back for some reason. If it wasn't well thought out or it's just not really in the cards and I move it back, I now have to re-indicate in X and Z, obviously, for this tool 5 again. Whereas if I indicated this in, said this is 0, and I said I take this drill, put it in there, I'm just setting a Z depth. If I take and I put, well, we're going to go extreme, I put a 1-inch drill in here in this holder. Obviously, this is a 3/4 holder. It'd be a little tricky, but if I were to say, let's be extreme, find a way, put a deeming drill in here, put a 1-inch drill in here. I don't have to do anything in my X. I just have to set my Z. The minute I take that block off and move it, I now have to reset that. So something to think about. If you can make your configuration standard, you're going to have the best efficiency when it comes time to setting up another lathe job. As you can see, the way I've chosen to set mine up is kind of alternating. So boring bar holder holds my bar puller, square tool, boring bar, square tool, boring bar, square tool, and then my cutoff is also a square tool. So I got 2 square tools next to each other. But besides that, I almost alternate all the way. So just something to think about when it comes time to setting up your lathe turret for the first time and kind of how your standard work is going to go from there. You guys saw the bar pull in there. I'm gaining efficiency, I'm gaining unattended run, and I'm not having to stand here open the collet, pull it out to the hard stop, close the collet, repeat that every, I think it's 42 seconds for this part. So getting unattended run, really big thing for me, so I can focus on other things, whether it be programming, ordering tools, material, running the other machines, setting up, etc. You get it. So I'm really curious to hear your guys' experience, mills versus lathes. I want to see the Millbillies and the Chuck Monkeys clash. How can we work together? What can we learn from each other? And that's kind of what I'm hoping to gather from you guys, is what are some things you've learned on a lathe? What are some tricks you guys have used? So I can become better and kind of learn a little bit from you guys as well. And then the next video featuring this machine, we're gonna go over what I'm gonna call simple automation. So no, you're not gonna see a robot, you're not gonna see cobots, you're not gonna see all this AI integration, making decisions for me, etc. There's no humanoids running here, it's just me. I'm the humanoid, I guess. So we're gonna go over simple automation, things that I do to hopefully help you guys think of automation in a much simpler concept. We're also gonna go over some stuff in the mill. There's no cobot on the mill, so I'm sure a lot of you are asking, how are you gonna automate? We're gonna try and go over some things that I do to get unattended run or more run with less involvement from me. So, hope you guys liked the video. If you have any questions, comments, drop them below. We'll respond to those as fast as I can. And as always, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more Practical Machinist content.